What's up, Mike?
Not a lot, but that shit gets me pumped up.
Dude, episode 8 of Hardly Adults.
The Metalheads subculture. This is going to be a good one. I am curious because I am not involved in the Metalhead subculture really much at all. Most of the music I tend to listen to is more from like the hip-hop stand. It's weird because I don't really consider myself to be part of any particular musical subculture because I listen to such a broad range of music and don't really get that deeply involved in any of them, but I know you do.
Oh, dude, I'm a die-hard metalhead.
I've heard your music when we go to school and everything.
And you're a huge fan, right?
Oh, yeah. Actually, some of it is really cool. I mean, and some of the concepts that are pushed in metal music is pretty interesting. So we're going to dive into some of that today.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people, they think, like, oh, they're just screaming and yelling. You can't understand anything they're saying. But, dude, a lot of their shit is super deep, very technical, and very, very precise.
Well, you have to have somebody describe those things to you because if you don't listen to it on a regular basis, you don't understand what they're saying. I mean, it's the same for rap and those real fast chopping type rap songs.
Oh, we heard your rap last episode.
I know.
That was good.
I can't believe anybody has listened to that. That's difficult for me.
Well, we got all this fancy sound stuff. We should have you record an album.
That would actually be really cool if we could get some beats and stuff, but
clearly we can
you'd
make
have
it
to
work.
Go and find people who are selling those beats and then
get
put
open
the
source
music
beats.
to it. Oh yeah, it does exist for sure. I've looked into it. Oftentimes people who are giving their beats away for free though are not necessarily always the best, and they don't. Their quality
Mike only wants the best.
I only want the best. That's all I would
reasonable.
ever. Yeah, I know, right? So. Number one, let's start some little Q&A here because
Q&A.
You are the professional on this. So.
I am a pro.
Oh, metalhead. So,
hit it. Give me all the questions you got.
My first question.
Okay.
When did you get involved or first consider yourself a metalhead?
High school.
High school. How did that begin?
You know, it's actually really funny. I mean, I grew up listening to rock, but it was always, like, grunge. Like, you know, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, pretty mellow stuff compared to metal. And then my mom's friend, who she actually knew through high school, his name was Jim. I don't even know how he just showed up one day. And he was like, hey, I got tickets to this show tonight. It's Lamb of God and Hatebreed and 3 Inches of Blood, or something. Yeah, something like that. It was in Portland.
Names.
Yeah, it was in Portland. It was at the Roseland Theater in Portland, and I had never met him before. And my cousin Aaron and we used to hang out all the time. And we were like, yeah, we'll go. Like, fucking why not? You know,
yeah, take advantage.
Yeah, we went there, and it was funny because on the way to the show, his car broke down, and we actually ended up like 20 minutes before the show started, and we actually ended up getting out, running from his car across the Burnside Bridge all the way to the show, getting in there like as the opener was playing. It was fucking awesome though. But
made it.
Oh yeah, barely. But we made it and went and moshed and I never looked back. I had a blast.
So what was it that drew you to that whole side of things?
Just the energy, the amount of energy and the attitude of the people. Like everybody is so fucking cool. Like nicest people in the world, the biggest teddy bears you'll ever see in your life. But like they're all just, you know, they're thrashing and they're throwing elbows and they're, you know, you got the circle pits and the wall of death,
so
and
intimidating.
It is not as bad. Like Jenny, she's like 5'4", but she's been in the middle of mosh pits before.
Wow.
And like she's fallen before, and everybody's right there, help her pick her right back up, and everybody's back to doing their thing.
What a cool group! That's awesome.
Yeah, it's super cool. Like nobody's actually out there to like really, really like harm anybody. Everybody's out there just getting their aggression out and just going crazy and having fun, and it's a blast.
So that was your first metal show, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And what was the first? Obviously you've gone to a lot of these metal shows by
many.
yourself. So
Oh yeah.
what was the first one that you went to solo?
The first one I went to solo. OTEP and Bury Your Dead.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's-
That was at the Satyricon in Portland. It's now closed down, but it's a teeny little place, like the size of like a large garage, mainly. Like it was teeny, and there's two pillars that are in the middle of the floor. So you're like moshing, and you're trying not to run into these like steel pillars. But
just
it was
get
fun.
driven into
Yeah.
it with the number of people. I've seen some of those videos of the mosh pits. And
Oh yeah, they're fun.
wow, that is impressive. What are the different types of mosh pits that they get set up?
There's just your normal mosh pit where it's nothing crazy. Everybody's just, everybody is. It's really hard to explain. You're kind of like super like crowded, I guess. The crowd's just jumping around, going crazy. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. There's no like, I guess for lack of better words, organization to it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of chaos, and
Yeah.
and those are fun. There's the circle pit, which you'll see at a lot of metal shows, where it's like kind of opens up and into a circle, like the crowd kind of splits up, kind of like you'd see, if you like in high school if you're about to get in a fight, the circle of people, and then there's a big open spot. It's kind of like that, and it opens up, and then the people on the outside, they'll start going in a circle. It's kind of like I don't really know the purpose of it. It's just fun.
Drive in that circle.
Yeah, there's the Wall of Death, which is done by not every band, but some of them, like Lamb of God does it, Exodus does it, Trivium does it. But it's usually they'll separate the crowd. They'll have them divide into and there'll be a big open spot, and then it usually involves some sort of like breakdown in the music, like it'll be playing, it'll be like kind of like building up, I guess, and then as soon as like that heavy beat drops, everybody just fucking runs at each other. It's like in Braveheart, like when they go to battle and the whole crowd they just collide, and it's fun. It's pretty
War
crazy.
music.
Yeah, dude.
Really brings out your feral side, I guess.
Oh yeah, dude. There was one Wall of Death. It was Exodus, and they were opening for I want to say they were opening for Slayer, and it was at the Memorial Coliseum in Portland, and they Exodus, they have the crowd divide into two, and they're getting ready to do the Wall of Death, and this lady next to me, she's like a stick figure, and she's half drunk, and there's this blonde chick who's probably like in her 40s, and she looks at me and she goes, "What's going on?" And she's like in the front, and I was like, "Oh, you are in a bad spot." And then all of a sudden that beat drops and she disappears. I never saw her again.
Oh no, you lost her.
Yeah.
Oh, poor lady.
I broke a jaw at a mosh pit one time. I broke somebody's jaw. He was being a douchebag though, so he deserved it. Yeah. Yeah. He like right in the middle of the mosh pit, he throws up his full cup of beer, which I mean is a waste of beer, but he threw it up and
That aside,
it landed on everybody, and we're all running at each other. I just put up my elbow and it caught his jaw just right, and you could hear that pop through the music. I was like, oh damn, he's not gonna be feeling too good.
Yowza, brutal.
But that's pretty rare.
Makes you think of like old battles and stuff when people
Oh, yeah.
did drive at each other trying to specifically
Oh yeah.
fuck each other up. Ooh, brutal. Sounds actually kind of fun though. I'm not gonna lie.
Super fun. Yeah. So I volunteered you. You're gonna go to a metal show with me one of these days, and you got to get in the pit for a couple minutes just to see what it's like.
Throw a few bows out there,
Not even really that. Just get in there, and you'll kind of get a feel for it. There's no real way to teach it. You just kind of get a feel for it. There's no real way
loose.
to
Enjoy.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a blast. You're not gonna get hurt.
That sounds like a blast. So what are your favorite bands if you had to put them into a list? Like
Slayer, Megadeth, Lamb of God, Slipknot, Motorhead, Iron Maiden.
Oh yeah. Classic.
Oh yeah. a lot of thrash metal bands.
Yeah.
Anthrax, Exodus.
So, hold up. You say thrash metal.
Yeah.
What are some of those different genres? It sounds like you brought up a few different ones now.
Yeah, so there's probably over 100 if you really want to dive into the different types of subgenres of metal, but they can usually be, if you want to go broad, divided into, there's thrash metal, which is like you think like Slayer, Metallica is technically considered thrash metal, Megadeth, Anthrax. They're more kind of old school metal. You can actually, most people can understand what they're saying.
Gotcha.
It's more yelling, less like growling, I guess.
Yeah, cleaner vocals.
Yeah. There's like death metal, which is more like Lamb of God, which is more like, the heavier, deep, like guttural, screaming, stuff like that. I still understand what they say, but I mean, I got trained ears when it comes to that stuff.
Makes sense.
But and there's black metal, which is super common over in like the Scandinavian area, like Finland and stuff. They got some pretty heavy black metal bands. There's new metal, which is like Slipknot, Avenged Sevenfold, stuff like that. Oh man. I mean, I can go on and on. It's really hard to describe with words.
Oh, yeah.
The genres.
Well, out of curiosity, what was your favorite metal show that you ever went to?
It was,
now that we have an idea.
Slayer, Megadeth, and Testament. It was in Portland, Hillsboro. And that was a crazy show. And it was because Jenny and I, we were, I don't remember what year that was. I don't know if we had just gotten married or if we hadn't been married yet. But it was like the second metal show I ever took her to. And Jenny, she likes Backstreet Boys and country and stuff like that. So I take her to go see Slayer and Megadeth and Testament. And, Testament's playing. It was pretty mild mosh pit. It's pretty chill. You can stand up there and you can hold a beer and not get it knocked out of your hands. And you listen to it. And Megadeth comes on. And it was just all hell broke loose. There's several thousand people there, and they all just ran to the same spot, like right in the middle, and it was just chaos. And a few songs in, Jenny looked like she was out of breath, so I was like, you want to step out and catch your breath for a second? And she's like, sure. And then I looked at the guy next to me, I was like, yeah, we're going to step out. And he goes, the only way out's to crowd surf over. And I go, okay. And I told Jenny, we're gonna crowd surf over, and I just kind of point up, and she goes, no, and she like fetal position, like on the ground almost, and I was like, oh no, don't do that, you're gonna get stomped, like.
Oh my god.
But by the end of that show, since it was outdoors and there were so many people, like, and it was August, it was so dry. I was covered in dust. Like, everybody there was just like this weird shade of like grayish brown. Dude, I was like blowing like gray snot rockets for a week.
God, brutal.
Oh, it was so much fun though.
Oh, I can imagine. So, what are some of the most influential bands or even individuals in the metalhead subculture? I mean, there's got to be some
ton of them, but I mean, it all depends on who you ask and what kind of metal is their favorite. I would say like Gary Holt, and Tom Araya, Lemmy. Tom Morello.
Yeah.
I don't know if you consider Tom Morello. He's not really metal. What was the first one I said? Gary Holt. He's from Exodus, and after Jeff Hanneman died from Slayer, he filled in for him and just kind of stuck around.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
really kept that band moving along.
Oh yeah, and Gary Holt is a guitar god. Like, I think he could outplay anybody. Dave Mustaine, he's just a legend. A lot of people look up to him. I'm sure, a lot of people who don't even listen to metal probably know who he is.
Yeah, true.
I mean, he pretty much started Metallica,
Yeah.
and then got kicked out and started Megadeth. Best thing that ever happened to him. But and then you got Lemmy, who is dead now, but he was from Motorhead, but he was a bass player and singer.
Oh wow. Talent.
But Lemmy, he has that's such a unique voice too. When you think of like Ace of Spades, you probably don't know.
Probably not.
No, you don't know Ace of Spades?
Can't think of it.
The Ace of Spades.
Oh man.
You don't know that? Oh man, we're gonna have to listen to that.
All right.
I have the Motorhead tattoo on my arm actually.
Ooh yeah. What's your favorite? Because I know you've got a ton of tattoos of different bands and stuff. Which one's your favorite?
Which one's my favorite tattoo?
Yeah.
Ooh, it's a tie between my Megadeth one and my Slayer one.
It's almost like choosing your favorite child.
Yeah, it's a toss up between those two for sure.
We'll have to post a picture of.
For sure.
Both of those, and maybe even do a poll, see which one people think is their favorite.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Done. Hell yeah. But yeah, man, there's Tom Morello. I don't know if you can really consider Rage Against the Machine metal. It's kind of almost its own genre.
Yeah, I know.
It's a little rapish, and Jenny always says, "Why are you listening to rap?" Whenever I have Rage on, I'm like, it is not rap, Jenny.
Don't even mistake it. No. God,
I like Rage Against the Machine. They're good.
So then, with those being like the most influential people, who was kind of a main driving force toward actually involving it to be metal, like
you got to go back farther now.
Yeah,
you got to go.
Got to be 70s.
You got to go back.
Maybe even 80s. But
Ozzy, AC/DC, Kiss, Twisted Sister. Those like the hair metal bands and things like that. Back in the 80s, when they considered AC/DC and Ozzy, satanic hardcore death metal and all this, but you look at it now and you got like 6-year-olds playing Crazy Train.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I know that they're definitely kind of driving factors. Who was the first? Do you know?
Jimi Hendrix, I believe, was the first person to create that kind of that raspy guitar sound because he took his amps and he actually cut the cone out in the middle. He put a slice in the cone, so when it vibrated against each other, and it kind of created that sound.
Oh yeah, the crunch,
the crunchy sound. I know I'm pretty sure he was the first person to do that, and then a lot of people started doing that after that, and then they just started developing amps that did that on its own. But I mean, you can go back even further as far as like pushing the boundaries of what people thought was appropriate, I guess. And you look at like Elvis, he just moved his hips and danced on stage, and people thought that. They were like, don't look at that. Like,
oh, God.
Like telling their kids, don't look at that. It's inappropriate.
Yeah, that's true.
And you have the Beatles that talk about drugs in their songs, things like that.
Yeah, but those are things that you hear the controversy on for sure. Even now, people talk about the controversial side of.
You're not a metalhead, but you know who Ozzy is.
Oh yeah.
Right, and what do you think of when you think of Ozzy?
I think of him biting the head off of a bat on stage. Like,
yeah, exactly. And that's what everybody. And that was actually an accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had prop bats for a long time, and as a joke, somebody switched it out on him.
No way.
Yeah, and it just kind of stuck.
Wow. He went along with it.
Yeah, I mean, not much you can do.
Yeah, I mean, because I've seen the video, it seems like he held his cool pretty well.
Yeah.
Afterward, he didn't like puke or something. You
have a lot of things that people consider extreme. There's like Marilyn Manson.
Oh yeah.
And Rob Zombie, who are super theatric.
Yeah.
They put on. They have good music. They have really good music, but they are more for the show. They put on the show. They want to get that shock reaction out of people,
That makes sense.
Rob Zombie, you could take out all the music out of his show and still watch it and be in awe.
Yeah,
it is really cool.
Yeah, he definitely puts on a theatrical performance for sure.
So does Marilyn Manson.
I've seen some of those videos of their on-stage acts, and it's impressive.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you look at different bands like
Slipknot's
even
like that too.
AC/DC and
Yeah.
stuff, Fire in the Cannons and all that. And,
Man, I can't believe people
theatrics.
thought AC/DC was heavy metal.
I know.
I mean,
at
at
one
the time
point,
it was. Don't get me wrong, but
it's so light now.
it's
in
so light.
comparison.
And don't get me wrong, AC/DC has a few good songs. I'm not a big AC/DC fan. It's just, yeah, I appreciate them. It's just, I don't know. It's just kind of got old for me.
Since you've been, your influence has pushed me to look into more metal and stuff.
Oh,
and,
did you?
Oh yeah.
Who'd you listen to?
He actually does a lot of cover work. His name is Leo Manacchioli, I believe is how you'd pronounce his name. But he does like a lot of metal covers. One of my favorites, funny enough, speaking of AC/DC, is his Thunderstruck cover.
Thunderstruck.
He makes it sound so much more. Dude, he makes it sound so much more crunchy and just insanely hard because
Man,
his
you need to
vocals
you need
and
to do a deep dive into the internet, and I'll give you some good resources.
Oh yeah.
Like Corey Taylor, dude, he does a lot of different things. He does Slipknot, which is super heavy. Obviously he does Stone Sour, which is, I mean, they have some heavier songs, but it's definitely a lot lighter. He does a lot of, he'll do a lot of solo performances where he does a lot of covers. He'll do like Creedence and, just a bunch of random things. And then he'll, fuck around on stage and do the SpongeBob theme song.
Wow, no way. I wonder what that sounds like.
It's actually pretty funny. Yeah. And then, he does collabs and he'll try to rap, I don't know. I appreciate Corey Taylor just for his raw talent.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you there. For some reason I want to say that it was Corey Taylor who did a song with Tech Nine.
Yep. You showed me that one. It is.
Yeah. It's actually fairly impressive to hear Tech Nine push his boundaries as well as Corey Taylor.
So one funny thing about most metalheads is they are very, very, very defensive for their type of music.
Yeah.
A lot of metalheads
called Wither.
despise country and rap.
Oh,
and stuff. I mean, there's some that listen to everything.
Oh,
Don't
true.
get me wrong, but there's a lot that that just absolutely hate everything else.
That's true.
And I'll listen to anything that's good. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I grew up listening to grunge and Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains. Dude, Candlebox.
Oh, here comes the rooster.
Dude, that's such a good song. That's my go-to karaoke song.
Yeah.
That's my go-to karaoke song.
That is a good ass song, too.
I can nail that song karaoke.
See, I've never done karaoke.
Dude, Friday nights at the bar over here.
Really?
Yeah, we should go do karaoke.
I don't know.
I'll do it.
I hate putting myself out
You give me
there
2
like
glasses
that.
of whiskey and I will do anything.
We've seen that at school and stuff. We had some wild nights. I know that there's a lot of deep messages contained in a lot of these metal bands, and some of them, less, some of them more. But obviously, there's some agendas that are pushed in.
Oh, definitely.
Metal more heavily than others. What are some of those messages that you see getting pushed?
You see a lot of songs regarding religion. And usually not for religion. And then you see a lot of really subtle political songs. Megadeth has a lot of very political songs, and not necessarily like Republican and Democrat and stuff. It's the way the world is going, or the way it is. You have bands like Slayer who will write a song, like Altar of Sacrifice, where they flat out in the song praise Hail Satan.
Yeah.
Man.
Tool,
yeah.
Tool has some deep songs for sure.
Tool is probably one of the most technical, deep bands there is out there. Like their song Opiate, it's based off of, and don't get me wrong, I do not like Karl Marx. I'm not a Marxist, but he was right about one thing, and the name of the song bases off this is religion is the opiate of the masses. It's used to control society and pit society against each other. And if you think about it, that's absolutely accurate.
No doubt. That is a good point. You know, you don't really see that side of metal or, you know, see those messages if you're not actually involved in the music itself or understand where the music is coming from. And obviously, you know, I'm sure it varies by band.
Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of bands out there that write songs that don't really have a meaning other than just they're having fun and stuff. You look at like Steel Panther and they have a song called Glory Hole, and you know, I mean, it is exactly what you think it's about, you know.
No way.
Oh yeah. It's funny. Fuck. I love that song. It's funny. And then you have, you know, bands like Tool where all of their songs have like just a crazy amount of meaning. Like their song Lateralis is all done through like mathematical sequences, through the Fibonacci sequence. And like the amount of like talent and knowledge it takes to actually write a good song using that is super impressive.
That is impressive, no doubt. Well, you know, I'm kind of really surprised at how much there is to this metalhead subculture. I mean, clearly I need to do a little more research into this group because it's interesting. It's far more interesting than, you know, you always just take these different groups as like, oh, that's for these type of people or that's for them, you know, it's not for me. But you might find a lot more in common with these different types of music than you expect.
Oh, it's really funny too because like 80% of my wardrobe is just black band t-shirts, you know. There's black t-shirts with the different band art on it and stuff like that, and you walk around town or you go in the store and you see somebody else with a band t-shirt and you both do that, you know, you instantly have that like, you're a metalhead, I'm a metalhead.
It's like the cool car guys,
you know, you know, sometimes I'll wear my battle jacket around, and you know, I have different like metal patches and stuff on it, you know, and that's a conversation starter. People come, oh, I love that band, I've seen them in concert on this day, and you know, like it's instantly just like you have that bond with just people that have no idea, like you've never met before.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's not like that with a lot of any other genre, really.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know any other genre where you can like instantly have that type of connection with somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there could be an argument made for other types that have that, maybe, but you know, you think like country, you know, you think cowboy hats and cowboy boots, but that could be anything.
Yeah, that's
you know,
true.
Like
if you're involved in the country at all,
you think what rap? I don't know.
You're not gonna
big chains,
wear
gold chains, and baggy pants, and sagging pants down to your knees. I don't know.
You know, it's funny because there is a lot of groups like that, but then there's also a lot of rap that isn't involved in that, and it just depends on. It's one of the most diverse groups, I feel like, you know, in a lot of ways, because there are people who literally just, they're normal ass people who rap and focus on just their lyrical content, or really focus on providing, you know, the timing and beats, and focus on wordplay and things like that. But then there are bands, or you know, there are rappers who focus on the gold chain, especially as mumble rap and that whole subgenre has become more established.
Tattoos, the little tattoos all over the face and the colored hair.
Oh, now you're getting into like 6ix9ine and shit.
I have no idea who that is.
He's the son of 50 Cent.
Oh.
He's kind of a dumbass. He is actually a complete dumbass. It's funny because
Your rap talked about it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Your last one that we had you do on the last episode.
Well, it's funny because 50 Cent totally fucks with and talks shit about his son being a dipshit, you know? And 50 Cent was a hardcore gangster type. So it was kind of funny to see him talking shit on his own son for being a dumbass and doing stupid shit.
Speaking of people's kids, though, dude, I love it when I see parents bring their kids to metal shows. Like,
It's cool.
I went to one show, I believe it was, I think I saw that kid at more than one show, though, to be honest. But he was at this show, and he was up on his dad's shoulders in the middle of the mosh pit. This kid had like a 4-inch tall red mohawk, and this kid was rocking out. And I was like, dude, that dad is awesome.
No doubt. Well, you know, it's really a trip, though, because I've been to, I wouldn't consider it metal, but more of a hard rock, or maybe even more new metal. But it was All That Remains, Five Finger Death Punch.
Five Finger Death Punch is just hard rock.
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider them metal.
Metal,
but
no.
they're good. I like Five Finger Death Punch.
All That
some of their
Remains,
stuff,
though.
some of their shit's not that great. But All That Remains is
More metal. Some of their songs.
I don't know what
just
genre they
pure
fall under,
scream,
but
you
it's
know?
All That Remains is kind of
And then Volbeat and
Volbeat's awesome. I fucking love Volbeat.
But they're even more just hard rock.
Yeah.
But
they're kind of a weird. Volbeat, I honestly think they're kind of their own genre.
Oh yeah.
Because they're kind of like Metallica meets Elvis and Johnny Cash and.
His vocals are one of the craziest things you'll ever hear.
Oh yeah, and
rock
he's
song
from.
like that.
I think they're Norwegian. I want to say they're Norwegian.
Yeah.
They're from Norway.
They're definitely.
I think. I could be wrong. I know they're from somewhere over in the Scandinavia area.
And then it was also Korn.
Korn's good.
And
They put on a cool show. I saw them with Disturbed in Portland.
yeah.
Yeah. Korn puts on a good show. Their drum kit is just insane.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Well, it was over at the Gorge in Washington, and
George
of
at
the
the
coolest
Gorge.
things- Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I've been
It
there.
was
I saw a Tool there.
insane. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. It was one of the coolest things, though, going back to, talking about kids being involved, is Five Finger Death Punch brought up all the kids and their dads up on stage to just rock out to one of their songs.
That is really cool.
It was one of the coolest things I ever saw. And so to see that in that rock and metal culture, such a child-friendly, really.
Oh, yeah, and, dude, people love it when there's
environment.
kids. There could be, you'd see a kid run in the middle of, like, a hardcore mosh pit, like
Yeah.
a Slayer show, and you'd see everybody there just, like, they wouldn't hurt the kid. They'd, like, help the kid along, like, yeah,
doubt.
hell yeah. They'd, like, jump in there with them, help the kid have fun. Like, it's, like, people think that shit's cool. Like...
And they're probably happy that their
That-
culture is proliferating.
Oh,
like that.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's got to be an important part of it, is to pass on that mentality and that wonder for that type of music, that genre.
Oh,
that
yeah.
means that more people are going to be involved, and that's
the long,
always
the
cool.
long hair.
Yeah.
And, oh man, that's like that you should listen to the song "Death to All But Metal" by Steel Panther.
Death.
Their music video is hilarious. It's very similar to like "We're Not Gonna Take It" by Twisted Sister. But like that rebelliousness.
Yeah.
That's kind of a good way to sum up kind of what metal is for a lot of people.
Rebellion.
It's very rebellious. Yeah. Especially for kids.
Yeah, go against the grain, rebel against the commonly accepted proper mindset.
Oh yeah.
Because oftentimes that shit's stupid, It's kind of ridiculous and
Well, and it gives them an outlet, because a lot of times people, or especially kids, that feel kind of trapped within society's rules and stuff, and this gives them a place to kind of escape to, whether it be escaping in your head, listening to music, or going to a show.
it makes sense. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to do some more research for sure, and I think we should totally listen to that song. We'll have to
Death's
listen
All
to
But
that.
Metal?
Yeah.
Yeah. We
So,
should. Have you never heard it?
I have not.
Oh,
so
it's a good song. It's funny.
We'll listen to that. But,
All right.
as far as now goes, I would say that gives you a good, deep view into the life of a metalhead, that whole subculture. You really get a good idea, a good feel
for sure, yeah.
Well,
and I could talk about this shit for days, too. I mean,
sure.
I just got stories. I got stories and stories about metal shows, and I mean, I'll leave on a good one.
Note, yeah.
I'll leave on a good one. It was before Slayer and Anthrax at the Wilma Theater here in Missoula.
Mm-hmm.
I went over to the bar that was just literally right around the corner, right before the show. I think Red's Tavern or something like that.
Oh,
I don't know.
Red's.
And I'm sitting there, and because I am I'm waiting for the show to start. I'm getting some food, getting a couple drinks in me, and I'm sitting there at the bar. Group of like 9 people walk in, and then another group of like 4 people walk in. One dude goes, "Slayer!" and just yells it, and everybody else, including me, goes, "Slayer!" And then one dude's like, "Shot a crown for everybody." And I was like,
No.
Hell yeah. And dude, that same dude bought everybody in the bar like 9 shots of Crown. Dude, I was fucking hammered by the time the show started. It was awesome.
Holy shit, that is awesome.
Yeah.
What a cool ass. Well, that shows the unity amongst metalheads. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you giving us this insight.
Anytime.
Awesome. Well, we'll talk to y'all later. Make sure to
listen to our next episode, though, on Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's dropping.
Yep.
And we're going to take a kind of a 180-degree turn, talk about something different. We're going to talk about furries, I think.
Probably furries.
Yeah, furries.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
That will be cool.
Definitely a whole nother look for sure. But make sure to follow us on Facebook at Hardly Adults, and go to our YouTube page. You can find all of our podcasts on there. We also give us some feedback at hardlyadultspodcast at gmail.com.
We have Twitter at hardlyadultspod.
And we're going to be, I know we've said that in the last couple episodes, but putting ourselves on Castbox,
and I want to get on a bunch of other ones.
I know.
It would be good. But share the hell out of our episodes, please. And to our listeners not in America, shout out to them. We got like Australia, UK, Russia.
Hell yeah.
Other states. I mean, that's cool. But other countries are pretty. I mean, that's a trip.
But when you're a podcast from Montana and you see people are listening in Rhode Island and Florida,
New York,
that's pretty interesting,
Yeah, California.
Kind of a crazy demographic, and they're getting a viewpoint that they do not have in those areas. So, interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, take care.
That concludes. Adios.